site. Thank you. Site research and site surveys and field trip in the middle. And our program has been there since 2012. It has some history. We don't have to really go through everything, but as a continuous agenda, we are very interested in this topic of social and urban kind of related topics in terms of architecture and urban design. And we are also interested in interesting ways of looking at technologies and algorithmic approaches. So these are very distinct agenda or interests that has been kind of boosted this kind of conversation, and we launched a social algorithms research group. As I mentioned, it's kind of started from an interest of these two very distinct different architectural approaches, which has been researched by our committee member. I will invite them to introduce themselves later, but these members have been kind of developing our annual workshops over the past few years. And most of these events have been hosted in Yonsei University with offline, of course, creates. And normally it has been around 9-10 days workshop with midterm review, final review, with a lot of different interesting public programs, talks and symposiums, and invited lectures and discussions, and also joining also different events happening in Seoul around that area, around that time period. Yeah, and most of the students have very interesting experience and site survey, happy moments with interesting and very different products they are producing during the workshop. And the resulting contents have been very different every year, also throughout every different unit. And also last year we had one unit, a group of students from a unit. They managed to apply their products to a exhibition in Seoul. So it was also kind of outreaching. And we very encourage this kind of outreaching activities, writing papers and submitting to conferences and stuff. So this year, we wanted to kind of expand our network and knowledge. So we invited external tutors and young and very bright and like new mindsets. And we wanted to learn a lot of different new kind of approaches. So we invited these really talented groups of tutors this year to lead each unit, and we have 4 units this year. We have very carefully kind of reviewed and chose by all our committees. So I would like to really thank all the committees' efforts for reviewing and being in the discussions, and really looking forward all the new tutors to bring us new knowledge and interesting discussions. So our unit 1, we have James, Jongwan, and Chakyang. I will invite you guys to say hi later. Unit 2, we have Jaehyuk, Nayeon, and Heejun. Unit 3, Lower and Case. Unit 4, Lloyd, Suna, Hanjun, and Donghyun. Very looking forward to these units. And our schedule will be looking like this. All the red are public events. Blues are also the public events, but blue is more like unit organized public events. So it's optional for you to join, but we are highly recommending you to join. And some units, they will invite their own crits and some juries, maybe they will organize some really interesting tutorials and they will open it up for you to be able to join in to see. So if you're curious, just stay tuned for us to announce each unit's different open public events. But these red public programs are something you have to attend. So please note the date and time really carefully. And another thing really important is after the workshop finishes in around 2 months time, in October 16th, please note the date. We are going to organize a super crit and a symposium. So we will have selected student projects from this workshop to present your project, and there will be some also invited tutors and lecturers to invite and share and kind of really boost the interesting discussions. We organize this event separately because we think to squeezing in that kind of really interesting conversation within this time is really short, because we want you to concentrate on learning and producing. That's why we decided to push this back in another 2 months time. So we hope everybody's available to join in. So here I would like to unshare my screen, and I want to invite all our committee members and tutors to just say hi and say where you're from, which school you're teaching, or where you're working. Yeah, just something so we have all the students can recognize you. So I want to invite all our committee members listed here and our tutors to say just a word. I know our tutors will present your unit brief later, but this time is more like shorter version. Just say hi and it's about yourself. So I'm going to unshare my screen, and I'm going to start from myself. Hello, everybody. My name is Sumin Han. I'm director of Sumin Han Design Limited company based in London, but now I am currently teaching in Southern California Institute of Architecture, short for SCI-Arc, in Los Angeles. Yeah, and I would like to invite Julian to maybe
Hi everyone.
Later. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice to meet you. I'm Juan Sang. I'm based in Seoul, teaching at Yonsei University. I'm also the AA graduate, so I'm the co-director of this visiting school and sort of the team that we started this social algorithm design workshop about nearly 10 years ago. So what we want to do with this workshop is to introduce the AA spirit, which because the school was founded in like almost 170 years ago by students themselves. So that's what the keeps the school going with the experimental attitude by the students themselves. So that's what we want to have, even though it's a very short, intensive workshop. So I hope everyone to have fun and learn something within this workshop. Thank you. And maybe Jinseok, yeah.
Hello. Is it good morning or good afternoon? Maybe all different. My name is Jinseok Park. I have taught in AAVS school for maybe 4 years. I'm now a member of a social algorithm research group, helping June and Sumin to organize the workshop. I am now teaching at Gyeongnam University, then doing some research for comparable project. And hopefully I can join you guys on the critics or some sessions in the next few days. Thank you.
Maybe J1?
Good morning, everybody. My name is Jae-won Lee, and I'm running architecture office core urban architecture station in Seoul. And I taught AA Visiting School Unit 1 with Jin-seok before. And I really hope you guys enjoy and share the idea between different units and having some good result for the workshops. I really want to see your project maybe over the creek. Thank you.
Thank you. Dae-sung?
Good morning, and my name is Dae-sung. I'm also teaching in Yonsei University, and great to see you guys. That's all.
Right, Han-jun?
Hello everyone. My name is Han-jun, and I'm also based in London. And I'm an associate of Suminham Design Ltd. So working with the Sumin, and also teaching at the currently teaching at the Bartlett for skill tutor. And yeah, that's it. And yeah, and then this year I will work with you in Unit 4. So yeah, the people who's going to join to Unit 4, yeah, see it there as well. Thank you.
Right, the last but least member of the Social Algorithm Research Group, Seung-ah.
Hello, everyone. My name is Seung-ah Choi, and I'm doing a PhD course at Yonsei University in June's lab. And also I'm a graduate. And this is actually, I'm the very first participant of the very initial workshop of this one. And fortunately, this year, I'm joining this workshop as a tutor of Unit 4 with 100 and other two other tutors. So nice to meet you all, and let's have fun.
Thank you.
Yeah, I want to especially mention that Han-jun and Seung-ah did a great job for organizing their tremendous work, yeah, for making this happen. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So yeah, so these were so far, these were our member of the research group or social algorithm research group, and then mainly the tutors from the phase 1 AA visiting school. So now we recently started the phase 2. So now we are kind of opening up the platform so we can welcome all other young professionals and who's interested in teaching and learning. So now I want to introduce the unit tutors. Maybe shall we start from the unit 1, James?
Hello, hi. Thank you very much for having me, and thank you very much for the social algorithm team for organizing the event. I really appreciate it, and I mean, thanks to all students who are brave enough to join this another online sessions over the year of the COVID online teaching and learning experience. I don't know how you guys decided to do this, but welcome everyone. I'm James, and I am practicing architecture in London at the moment. And I'm also a unit master at the AA experimental program, which is a BA course now. And I'm also design tutor visiting lecturer at the Royal College of Art as a running studio ADS9 with my teaching partners John Shusha and also Brendan Carlin, who I'm working with at the AA. I think that's about it. Over to NA or Ja.
Okay, I will introduce myself. Okay, my name is Ja Kyung Kim. You can call me Ja. Also, I graduated the AA a long time ago, I think. And I'm based in Seoul. I run a small practice, which is on the project in Seoul. So I run Unit 1 with James and Jongwon. So hope enjoy with us. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. I'm Chongwon. You could also call me NA. I am an architect. I'm based in London at the moment, and now I am in London, and this is now 1:30 a.m. for your information. I think that's the point of having this international session. Really nice to meet you. I really look forward to having this session. I mean, I'm way younger generations than Ja and James, so I believe I will be really enjoying what you guys teaching. Look forward to it. Really nice meeting you. Thank you.
That's terrible, NA. That's terrible.
I mean, that's the fact.
But yeah, by the way, I mean, as NA said, it's 1 a.m., 1:30 here. So we are usually much more positive than this. So just take that into consideration, please.
Nice meeting you.
Thank you for the Unit 1 tutors of different generations. Okay, Unit 2. Maybe Jae-hyuk, can you introduce first?
Hey, good morning. I'm Jae-hyuk, and I'm an architect based in Seoul, Won-won architect. And I used to study in Yonsei University and Royal College of Art in London. Then I used to work in like Japan, like junior Ishigami for 4 or 5 years. Then I recently came back to Korea and doing architecture project in Won-won architect, and that's it. And nice to meet you and hope to see you in unit. Yep. And Hijun.
Hey, I'm Hijun. It's a shame that we cannot meet in person, but still, it's really nice to meet you all. I'm an architect based in Seoul, and I also write on architecture and film. Again, nice to meet you all. Thank you.
Nayoung?
Nayoung?
Hi. Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay, sorry, I'm currently outside, sorry, but I'm in New York. I happen to be in New York right now, but yeah, I hope yeah, you guys don't mind. So I'm Nayoung Kim, and then I practiced architecture in New York for like 10 years, and then I happened to come back to Korea 1.5 years ago, and then now I'm working in Seoul. So I love to just like share my experience in past 10 years, and then I would have fun with you guys, and then yeah, I have maybe more of practical experience than like a conceptual and academic experience, but I think that could be a useful also like part of a useful help for you guys. So yeah, happy to see you all. Thanks.
Thank you. So Jae-hyuk, Nayoung, and Hijun were our Unit 2 tutors. And then now let's move on to the Unit 3. Laura?
Me. Hi, my name is Laura Michelon. I'm an architectural technologist located in Los Angeles. I have an undergraduate degree in civil engineering from Columbia University and a master's from SciArc here in Los Angeles. Previously, I was an assistant teacher at SciArc in undergraduate. There's like a lot of noise happening outside my apartment. Sorry. But so previously I've been an assistant teacher at SciArc in the undergraduate thesis studio, as well as in the architectural technologies postgraduate program. Yeah, that's about it.
Thank you. Case?
Hi, y'all. Hey, y'all. My name is Case Miller. I'm originally from New Orleans, Louisiana. I live in Los Angeles now. I work primarily in design research in relationship to cultural products like film, television, and video games. I also work with a lot of brands, developing creative technologies for them. and I do quite a bit of VFX and have a pretty heavy background in filmmaking and these kinds of practices. So that's where I'm coming from.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Laura and Case. And then now the Unit 4, Lloyd, maybe you can start.
Hi, my name is Lloyd. So I graduated the University of Edinburgh for my undergraduate, and I did my diploma at the AA, which is now MR, I think. And since then, I founded this independent platform called Volume 64, which mainly investigates kind of different micro typologies and ways to kind of diversify the kind of fixed notion of, micro typologies. And since then, I taught at the AA visiting school, which was Polar Lab, that investigates Antarctic architecture. And I worked at Grimshaw Architects for a bit, and then now I'm doing some private work in Korea. And I'm really excited to take part in the workshop. Yeah, I think that's it.
Thank you. Maybe who can start? Maybe Hanjun? So no, yeah.
Okay, should I? Hi again. All right. Yeah. Hi again. Yeah. Yeah. This time, I'll introduce myself as a Unit 4 tutor. So, and actually, yeah, my detail is all the same. And what can I say? Like, well, I mean, I'm really happy to, yeah, with working with my team in this time as well. So that's it.
Yeah, and me again, pretty much like Hanjun. Actually, we've done a lot of effort to prepare this year's brief to kind of joining the social agenda and computational thing. So please listen carefully about our presentation. They'll be grateful. And let me pass my mic to Dongyun.
Okay. Good night here. Yeah. Hey, I'm Dongyun Kim. Actually, now based in the Cambridge, in the United States. So please let me know if you are in the Eastern time zone. Yeah, and currently I am studying at Harvard Graduate School of Design, and yeah, working as a research assistant, lab for the technologies at GSD, and also the machine learning engineer at Practice AI. So glad to see you guys, everyone. And then, yeah, that's it.
Thank you. So now we all introduced the tutors from the 4 units, and I'm happy to see some of our very old students back to this visiting schools as a tutor, because that's what we want to do. We want to keep wheeling this platform for architectural education. So for you guys who's joining this workshop, maybe in 10 years, you can probably come back as a tutor, so who knows. Right, I can probably share my screen just to keep you updated about the important notes. If I can share, hold on. Can you see my screen? Okay, right. I just want to do the full screen. Right. announcements and housekeeping, just very practical things that I want to share with you. So you've already seen this timetable, maybe sent by the info social algorithm email, and it will a lot of the events are subject to change because we want to make this workshop as full as possible, but that you probably want to keep the time available maybe throughout the 9-10 days of the workshop, because it will be very intensive, fun, and sleepless 10 days maybe. Yeah. The red marked events are the public events, so including the introduction that we are having currently, and we'll have the public lectures of the unit 1 and 2 5 o'clock in all the time that I'm mentioning is the Seoul time, 5 o'clock today, and tomorrow morning 9 o'clock we'll have the public lectures from the unit 3 and 4 tutors, and we'll have the mid critics on Wednesday, and it will be the joint critics between the 2 units, and we'll have the final critics by each unit on Sunday morning, and we'll have the closing events at 2 p.m. As a closing event, and this closing event will include the summary of each unit, and then probably some units will be summarized by the tutors, some units probably students will present themselves. And as Sumin mentioned earlier, we'll have the super crits in 2 months' time. And there are some optional lectures that you can choose, that you can listen from. And the currently 2 presentations were fixed. On Sunday, 5 o'clock will be a very interesting lecture by Yun Ju Hong. And the Monday evening, 6:30 p.m., there will be presentations by the AA students. So it will be quite interesting just to see sort of your age and then the presentations from the colleague. So from today until Sunday, probably late afternoon or evening, maybe I can say that you'd better keep all the times available for this workshop. And then these are the 16th of October will be the symposium and super crits that probably some of your work will be presented and criticized, and also to have the discussions from the AAVS School Seoul Phase 1. But all the information that we will change or will announce will be on this social algorithms workshop, so you can probably keep an eye on. And this is the Zoom link, because since you're all in the meeting room, so I guess you all have this link, and we'll have the Google Drive. So if you have any of you don't have the access to the Google Drive, you can email the info@socialalgorithm.com. Okay, so we'll have through this Google Drive, we'll share the files. We can probably give the file to you, and you need to upload your files too. And also throughout this workshop, we'll have the channel for a quick chatting. So we'll use the Google Chat. So maybe Hanjun will invite you all to the Google Chat room. So we'll have maybe each unit a chat room, and maybe a chat room for all the participants of this workshop. And yes.
Yeah, because I think I will start after. I just want to say about your Google Chat.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna introduce you all to the Google Chat after our lecture now. So I mean after the unit brief, I think, and then yeah. So if you have your if you submit your different email apart from the Google, yeah, please let me know. So because Google Chat only can use the Google account. So yeah, that's what I want to say. Sorry to interrupt.
It's all right. recordings. We want to share all our experience with the public, but I understand that some of our works should not be published online or as a book. So we'll be very careful with all our tutors and our participants. But the introduction that we're having now and the public lectures and the mid critics and the final critics will be all recorded and it will be shared on YouTube. And then this is the link that you can probably make a note, and then that will be available for 1 month. So it's not going to be totally public. It will be just within ourselves for now. And we'll let you know if we are making anything public. And any other inquiries, administrative inquiries should go to the info@social algorithms, and I or the Sumin or anybody from the research group can pick up. And any academic inquiries should go to your own tutors. Right, and maybe we can introduce the, oh, well, we have a Ning Wei. Maybe, Ning, can you say hi? If you're here.
Hello, hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello, I'm Ning Wei, and I'm current a student, just finished my second year in the AA. Yeah, and well, nice to meet you all here.
Thank you. Yeah, Ning will join us as a student for this workshop. Also, she'll be assisting us to promote visiting schools. So maybe there will be some occasions that you need help from her, or maybe we need help from her. Right. We have a social media, the Instagram of the AA Visiting School, and social algorithms separate, and Facebook. So you can probably follow, and we'll probably let you know later, but most of the units will, or all of our work should be collated after this workshop in the same InDesign template, so that we can archive your work, and you can change your name and information from the master page, as you can see on the left hand side. And all the file submissions should be made before the end of the workshop. And your attendance is also very important. And then your tutors will keep an eye and make a note. Then you will, when successfully completing this workshop, you'll get the certificate from the AA. So hopefully you can have all fun and learn something. Right, maybe shall we just start the unit presentations from now on? I will unshare my screen. Right. As we mentioned in the email to students, you will have each unit's presentations in about 10 minutes. And then students, you all need to be very, very, very focused to this time. So you can choose from all these 4 units. After this presentation, we'll have about an hour, maybe less than that, time, so that you can casually chat to approach to each unit tutors in the smaller breakout room in this Zoom meeting. And then you can go in and out of each room, and then just ask the smaller questions to the tutors. And then once you made up your mind, there will be a link that we send you to Google survey, that you can let us know what's your first, second, and the third choice. Because this is not a 1-year program, we are not going to have the individual interviews that choose students from 40. We'll just review your preference and all other backgrounds, and then me and Sumin will make a decision so that we can hopefully evenly distribute students to of all units. By the way, we have 44 students registered this visiting school, so we all welcome you. Right, shall we start from unit 1?
Sure. I'm about to share a link.
Okay.
Can everyone see the message?
Yes.
Okay, great. Don't open it yet, or you can, but don't play it yet. And I'll share the screen. Yeah. Okay. Can everyone see the full screen presentation? Fantastic. Thank you. Okay, I'll start. So we've introduced ourselves, so we're gonna skip who we are, but we're Unit 1. And we are interested in understanding how typologies are formed, perceived, and affects our living. And also how these typologies become irrelevant through mutations. For the introduction, I'd like to play a 3-minute long video from the AA Unit Experimental 6, which resonates the main idea of our visiting school studio brief. So please open the link from the chat. I'll play the video in background without the sound so that it doesn't interrupt you from watching YouTube video. Please enjoy. See you all back in 3 minutes. Okay. Welcome back. I guess everyone finished watching the YouTube. Okay, great. We'll carry on with the presentation then. All right, so Unit 1 will see our spaces as a living socio-political archive. If we carefully look at it, we realize that the architectures that surround us is connected to the history of the city, the history of design, technologies, and goes back to unrecognizable past iterations of mutations. However, we need to look into the traces of mutation and the typologies carefully to understand whether it intensified the type of production aligned with institutional regimes, or it carries the potential to offer multiplicitous living against types. To put this in a really simple way, typologies always have contributed in imposing ideals, tasks, useful effects through various spatial techniques. This, of course, includes our house, workplace, educational, and many other quote-unquote correction facilities. In the abstract brief, we talk about Darwin's theory and the romanticized belief of fit-purpose design for every single species that got superseded by the observation of evolution and mutation. However, even after 162 years of the acknowledgement to view the entire world away from the idealization, we continue to practice architecture to know what the right values are, to plan well, to give orders, and to beautify for the spectacle production, profiteering institutions and their powers. Our own house is the epitome of this architect's operation of idealization and typal production, enhancing the roles of individual nuclear family members, homeliness away from the wild urban condition, and an idea of transferring house into an asset to be constructed for a lifelong mission. These are precisely the evidence. However, this typological categorization and the past obsession of architects over typology, values, morality have all become obsolete. We continue to witness a dissolution of previous forms of life, community, family, and typology. This is a drawing of a Korean apartment transformed into a hagwon, the private after-school academy. Witnessing this kind of mutation is absolutely fascinating because it directly confronts the original ideology and architects who are involved in the construction. However, the fact that mutation and its consequential variations never replicates the previous form does not promise an alternative to our lives. The mutations that we observe in Seoul often absorb and assimilate other existing typologies and the typal production that serves the societal values. But we also see some completely unexpected mutations like this case. A typical Korean apartment turned into a jungle to live together with reptiles. Giving up the previous functions of the kitchen and using it as a water feature, having no distinction between the toilet and living room, earthy ground is the mattress and the working space for this new species, who had the willingness to give up on all conventions and appropriate the enclosures, to give the new usage following an individual fascination. Mutation produces variations, creating a new alternative to the current condition. This is especially true of Seoul, where subconscious spatial agents are constantly experimenting with their forms of living whilst negating the prescribed and idealized notions given by architects and allied institutions. Seoul's mutations and multiplicitous forms of living are already underway and ready to be revealed. Although Seoul's mutations are mostly driven by people's desire to enjoy their lives, these are rarely chosen. On a deeper level, the enjoyment and the desire involve profiteering, competition, success models, backed by institutions and typal production. The status of Seoul's mutation is complex. It requires a series of understanding of typological transformation as a sociocultural index of the mutation, which materializes and makes contemporary conditions visible. Now, we'll begin to critically review how the latest mutation of Korean typology and our current condition came to where they are. We will understand K-Wedding Hall as a social infrastructure that reproduces the same fantasy or narrative over and over again, feeding the perpetuating family ideals and confining roles of each member. while we evidently witness the spatial coexistence of contradiction between the depreciation and the submission towards the social convention. We will review Sangha as the spatial typology that manifests highly disciplinary society into matrices of endless spans or rooms, whose themes and contents are always rapidly mutating with the market's desire. We will question how Pojangmacha and urban golf can be understood as an exploded house where Seoulites are already using the exterior of the cityscape as an interior space. We will also follow how Korean car park ended up embracing the arbitrary simulation of nature and how it continues to serve the city as a logistical infrastructure and fulfills the unmet needs of the citizens with the constant mutations. We believe that a mutation sets us free from historical forms of discipline, hierarchy, and constraints over who we can become. The mutation manifests the possibility to denaturalize the previous forms of life. As mutations already indicate, we, architects, can neither impose nor foresee what forms of life will unfold and must reject our compulsions to adopt symbolic, programmatic, and typological thinking. Like Preciado argues, we no longer need architects, or rather, we need architects to be aware of our mutations. We must observe, expose, and create opportunities that can facilitate more experiments and pleasure towards a chosen mutation.
So I'm going to talk about what we're going to do throughout this week course. So the methodology in our unit during the workshop will be very much straightforward, and the outcome of the project will be fairly simple and minimal, yet very strong. From a very early stage, students will choose their own architectural typology, as you just saw, or mutation, and visit to record through photography. This doesn't mean that the site photos will be a collection of some random snapshots like Instagram, but will be taken very carefully with a specific intention. This could be about the composition of the space, scale, material, or any other special character that repeats in the different places or location. These will compose an atlas image, let's say, of your project in a carefully designed layout or technique. For example, it could be a series of blown up scenes that you zoom in from a large photo like the work on the left, or it could be a collection of places that constitute a certain pattern or moment or speciality. This atlas image will become your tool to communicate your very specific understanding and interpretation of the typology you will be investigating. In parallel to the site recording, we will host a number of seminars and discussions. We believe this will help you to get a better understanding of how and what to think and what to look at and what we should expect from the environment and circumstances around us. Some films, of course, we're going to watch. Also, we are hosting a lecture by a Korean architect who shares an interest and way of seeing with our brief and topic. With all of these understandings and interpretations on the current status or condition of each typology, we will construct the first main image. This will be a portrait of the complex qualities and its desire that your typology constitutes. We will be using mainly Photoshop to carefully compose the image using the site photos or photo you took from the site. We will experiment and investigate on various techniques of image construction to find the best way to communicate your reading of the typology. We expect the first main image to be just one number of image, but depending on the project you're doing or intention of your, let's say, interest, this could be a kind of series of shots as well. You may need to use a number of different photos to collage them or even construct a whole new image. Like the atlas image that I just mentioned, this can be about the composition or scales, the materials, or any specific views of yours that we'll be looking at about typology. Or it could be also overlap layers of moments or scenes that construct the status of the typology. And after the midterm, we'll produce a very simple architectural drawing. This will be a very abstract and concise drawing, which probably will be the, I guess, line drawing, but subject to the project intention or your interest, this can also be a different types. The aim of this drawing is to provide a medium that communicates your idea with an architecture vocabulary while assisting your investigation with a further range. Therefore, we will spend, I guess, no more than a half day, let's say, producing this image or drawing. And finally, we will join the second main image. While the first main image is an observed spectacle of the current mutation that exists around us, this second set or second main image is a recomposition or reassessment of those existing mutations. In other words, it is a manifestation or a found possibility of a chosen mutation. The second image can be designed to be coupled with the first image through composition or your own views that imagines how these images goes together. Or it could be on its own, it's one standing alone piece. In any case, we will construct these two images, which is the first and second images, as a set that acts as a tool that delivers your sequential and correlated understanding of your chosen mutation. There will be various methods and techniques of image construction as a tool for narrative telling we'll be investigating. Throughout this very short, I guess, intense week, we believe this will also be a great opportunity and exercise for you to try and learn the nature of image composing and find your own strengths to communicate the idea. So yeah, choose unit us, choose unit 1. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We hope you
Thank you.
enjoyed the course. Thank you.
Thank you. If you have any questions, maybe you can leave a note, leave the question on the chat room so everyone can share the Q&A. Or you can just raise your hand so that we can hear directly from you, students. Or we can move on to unit 2. And while we are listening to unit 2, you can still leave questions to unit 1 on chat room, or maybe after all the presentation, you can have a casual talk later. Okay, let's have a unit 2 presentation. Jae-hyuk?
Okay, let me share the screen.
Oh, Hee-jun, all right.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we're unit 2. Get a room, single room for 10,000 people. By the way, can you hear the sound?
No. When you
Okay.
share the screen, you have to tick the option to include a sound.
Right. Okay. I'm sorry.
Maybe unshare and then share again.
Right. Try again. Does it work now? Okay, cool.
we're Unit 2 and a single room for 10,000 people. And we're learning like Hijun, me, and Nayo. And Unit 2 is interested in bigness. And bigness is not only about the volume of the building, but also the gathering itself. And gathering represent the specific literature and the power as well. And like from Le Corbusier to Rem Koolhaas, bigness was one of the main dream of the architecture. However, the fact that the number of unrealized work is greater than realized ones shows that bigness is the unrealized desire or the unfinished task of architecture. Bigger things mean bigger authority and power. The megastructure contains social demands and human desire, publicity, technology, power, capital, society, future, and zeitgeist. All of these words can be translated into bigness. So today, when the gathering is forbidden and the bigness collapsed, we thought this is the right moment to discuss about the discourse. In our point of view, treating the form of gathering can be a way to find the role of the architect in post-COVID world. The form of gathering, what we are going to discuss is a single big room. It is a non-contextual architecture, which means the architecture over form. It is not about the composition or configuration of space. What you're trying to get through the shape of the architecture is understanding the literature and certain activities in this space. So what do you want to find out? A new form that can reflect the post-COVID world. We want to see like really radical, simple, like clear, creative, aggressive, bold, even childish idea, which can change the rule.
So in Unit 2, we're going to research unbuilt projects which hadn't been chosen in the era. These are the ideas which the era had missed. Whether they're too ahead of time or archaic, we believe that these projects can be the new alternatives for the post-COVID world. Due to the COVID, we begin again from the point where rituals, programs, hierarchies, and relationships between human and context which used to compose spaces are gone. It means that the modernist mode of form follows function has been overthrown. Instead, spaces are being made through the methodology of function follows form. What will last till the end is space itself, in other roles, a form of architecture. So as an outcome, there will be two things, a research book and drawings. So first, for a research book, one project will be allocated to each student, and each student will be studying the spatial qualities by deconstructing and reassembling the project. 2 to 4 students will be choosing the projects with same program, and discussion and collaboration between those who share the same program would be needed. And secondly, for drawings, we are expecting each student to produce a drawing and a collage. A drawing can either be plan, axonometric, or section, which best describe the project. And it should be a sophisticated drawing, describing the core value of each space. Thank you.
And in the Google Drive, you can download the full brief, and also there is a research list on the Google Drive, so you can download and check, and you can understand how it gonna be in draft cut, and also the time schedule and all the expected outputs are on the Google Drive, so please check. Thanks.
Thank you. Is there any questions for Unit 2? Or you want to keep all the questions by yourself for later session? All right, let's move on to the Unit 3 then. Laura?
Yep. Give me 1 second. Right. Hi, we're Unit 3. Our workshop title is The Island and the Grid, Infrastructure Systems in the City. It's a cross-disciplinary project between film and engineering. We introduced ourselves earlier, but basically we wanted to say that we're kind of approaching this in a slightly different way, mostly because we come from a different place and city, industry, background. So we're kind of coming at this from a different angle. We're here to help you think through, we're here to help you think through how the tools and methodologies of movies and games interact with the methodologies of public planning, infrastructure planning, cybersecurity, and climate change. Case.
Okay, so I tried to boil down exactly what our thesis was for this particular project, and these are the sentences that kind of came out of it. It's, it's really about crafting the story of city mutation through research, data, and diagrams, which will be the first part. Then it will be about expressing and exploring these mutations with intelligent agents, machine learning, and simulation. And really what we're interested in is the future of systems, the future of infrastructure, and the future of users. And if you take the course, there's probably going to be a lot of talk about who is the actual user of the city and how will infrastructure systems change to accommodate different types of users. At the end of the day, what we're really interested in is complexity. We're interested in kind of opening up the gateway to you to think more holistically about the way in which cities work, the way in which cities will change, and the pressures that are going to be exerted on future cities. We can jump to the next slide, please, Laura. We're going to split this workshop into 2 parts. The first one will be pretty research heavy, but it should be a fun type of research. We'll talk a lot about world building and about how research that is done in relationship to production is wrapped into a kind of holistic thinking process about how worlds are built, and then we'll apply that to a real world space. Next one. These are the areas that we've selected for you in relationship to infrastructure. You will at least have one version of energy, water, and waste. And then all of these will have to take into account the multiplicities and multiple versions of data that will be required in the future as part of how interoperable systems within the city will work. How we're going to do that is going to be messy and fun. And if I could get the next slide, Laura, that'd be great. We're going to do this through, we don't have time to do a full analysis of a city, but we do have time to talk about how that full analysis would work and all the different tools that you might use, whether that's technical diagramming, mathematics, accessing APIs through programming languages, ways in which the city speaks to itself. We're actually going to get into those tools. In a lot of ways, this is a very tool-based workshop. You'll have a chance to see the industry tools that we use every day, both, and I think you're going to be very surprised to find a lot of overlap between, like I said, between cultural production and infrastructure production, especially when it comes to data tools. And the first thing that you'll produce, and where I'll stop talking, are through technical diagrams that create a systems narrative. If you have how different users and different touch points exist within cities, we're going to diagram those out. We're going to use our research to build a story, a qualitative narrative of a quantitative idea. And this process is going to really help you understand the constraints and issues AC systems design at the city level. And I hope that you find that interesting, because if you do, we can get really deep into it, as that is sort of the thing that me and Laura do on a daily basis. And I think I'm going to turn it over to Laura now, who's going to talk about the machine learning component that you will be using to do this.
Yeah, so students are going to learn about a few different neural nets and implement them in order to generate, edit, mutate the existing city and site. In thinking of the future, as well as many current issues affecting our city's infrastructure design, including climate change, pollution, densification, we can mutate the cityscape to reflect that. We can then incorporate the results from our research into various scripting methods to generate a site-specific speculative world that includes system design. Using Grasshopper, C#, and intelligent agents, students will grow, mutate, and constrain the infrastructure system within that given site. So each project will have an understanding of how to research technical systems and design, technical drawings and diagrams illustrating these research ideas, and how to translate that into a project. After this, we're going to spend some time fine-tuning and thinking through problems and inconsistencies that arrive from the automation process, like, does this work? Why or why not? Could it be improved by more data or research? What does that research even look like? Is it cultural, scientific? Is it have to do with the interface, like UI, UX? And yeah, so if you guys are interested in anything we've talked about or mentioned today, hit us up later. We'd love to chat more about it. So thanks. As the PowerPoint goes up.
Thank you. I hope you all are following and you're making up your mind. Right, let's move on to the Unit 4 then.
There is a question for Unit 1.
Oh, yes, please.
I'll read it. It's a site survey supposed to be in Seoul, and she's in London. So how is the site survey?
I'm also
sorry.
I just saw it. Yeah. I'm also in London, so I can't do a site visit in Seoul. No, the answer is you could choose your own typologies, and you could be anywhere based on where you are. But we do also at the same time have some options and numbers of examples for typologies we can suggest. But those are mainly based in basically Korean culture, Korean society. But we really suggest you and recommend you to choose your own if you would like to. And that's really open and for any types.
I was gonna say sorry, you're not welcome. No, I'm kidding. Of course. I mean, you can do almost, it's very flexible. We'll accommodate to our brief.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Right, let's move on to the Unit 4.
Hi, we're Unit 4. 2 seconds, I'm just trying to figure out how to do this with the notes. Can everyone see the presentation? Okay. Hello, I'm going to introduce you to Unit 4. So it's we're called Sabotage Untypical Encounter. It's been particularly difficult to prepare the brief because we wanted our unit to be a merge between a social brief and a technical one. So we are interested in investigating the current state of architecture and how it could possibly sabotage the homogeneous architecture of today. So I believe you guys also and heard the descriptions of all the tutors. So the starting point of our investigation for our unit is the spirit of the Crystal Palace. So the exact words, as Prince Arvid decreed the Royal Commission for the Exhibition of 1851, were as shown here. Increase the means of industrial education and extend the influence of science and art upon productive industry. So the idea of human progress was the spirit of the time. This can be witnessed from the pediment of the British Museum, literally named The Progress of Civilization. Along with that, the prevalent theory of evolution at the time has been declared from the science. And finally, the Crystal Palace, which was set up in 1851. Built with the spirit of human progress, the palace embraced an efficient construction logic that also allowed for flexibility, made possible through the birth of standardized structural elements. The Crystal Palace was the most evolved form of architecture that could override all other preceding logics of architecture. The implied linearity embedded in the notion of progress of the industrial era necessarily imposes limitations. It repudiates any other evolutionary variations that took place before the current state. Bound so tightly to technology that allows for maximum utility, the Crystal Palace cannot have a wide paths of evolution. It can only evolve towards a single direction where technology allows for even better utility. With the invention of reinforced concrete, the ideology of maximum utility and productivity gave birth to the architecture that can be rapidly replicated without need for much contextualization. Fast-changing context of the 20th century, driven by widespread idea of internationalism and globalism, stimulated alongside worldwide events, which are destruction caused by two world wars, allowed the architecture of maximum utility to spread rapidly. Paired with often overused modern mantras like form follows function and less is more. What exists of the architecture environment now can be witnessed through the photography project Standardized. 32 views from 32 different countries around the world present an eerie reality. You have to be told to know where you are. You have to be told to know where in the world you are. The maximum utility advocated by the Crystal Palace through the inventions of new materials and structural systems started erecting look-like buildings, the birth of the typical architecture. Typical architecture is everywhere. We now live the ironic dystopia of no-stop city where architecture is defined by the available square footage. Concerned mostly with utility, typical architecture has a narrow pathway of evolution. To grant architecture a better chance of survival against diverse future scenarios such as pandemic, earthquake, and extreme weather conditions, typical architecture with a narrow evolution pathway needs to be tackled. Darwin's evolution tree model could shine some light on tackling the current state of typical architecture. Untypical architecture is culture specific. It holds the inherent DNAs of each culture, but is alien outside its own context. Untypical architecture is Korean architecture, English architecture, Chinese architecture, Japanese architecture, and Turkish architecture, and numerous others that are bound to specificity. When cultures yield to utility, that is, when diverse untypical architecture is streamlined to become homogeneous typical architecture, it loses much of its DNA pool, once full of evolutionary possibilities. Typical architecture is driving itself towards vulnerability by losing diversity. Recognizing this, our unit aims to reintroduce the lost cultural DNAs into the picture. Diversifying typical architecture will better prepare architecture for unexpected future scenarios. So what we're trying to essentially do is recognizing that the current state of architecture to have this homogeneous utilitarian architecture that has a very narrow pathway of evolution, because we think that it only leads to better, it's architecture of just better utility. And we want to re-diversify it by using a computational tool. So as a tool to sabotage the architecture, StyleGAN will be used, which is a generative tool that could learn high attributes of a data set to create new images. So for this workshop, we'll try to pick out specialty attributes of a specific typology of typical architecture, which will be the modern apartment blocks, and its untypical architecture counterpart of a specific culture, which in our case will be Hanok, the traditional Korean housing typology. The picked specialty attributes of these two sets using StyleGAN will then be used to inform a design that hybridizes the typical apartment block and Hanok, hoping to achieve a starting point for diversified today's homogeneous typical architecture. I think it's a bit unclear what I mean, but I think if you look at the images, you'll probably understand it a bit better. And these are the rough sequences of what we're going to do. So first, the StyleGAN will be used to analyze the attributes of Hanok and its specialty. So these are the images of just like images that we found online for Hanok. And what the StyleGAN does is basically it analyzes all the high attributes of those images, and it can create new images based on what it learned. So these images are actually generated by StyleGAN after learning just 1,000 images of Hanok. And we think this can shine some light on to the picking speciality of Hanok, basically, or speciality of a specific architecture type. And if the training data set for Hanok is merged with that of typical architecture, which, as I said before, is the interior of the, which I said is the typical apartment block, we specifically took interior of apartment blocks for this specific experiment. And what it yields is this. So these are the images generated from two sets, so Hanok and apartment blocks, which I believe now carry the specialty of both Hanok and typical architecture, which is interesting. And the trained StyleGAN can be used to see different variations between Hanok and the interior of typical architecture. So students can use the hybrid images that are generated from StyleGAN to extract different architecture elements, create a new design that is the hybrid between typical architecture and untypical architecture. So on the later part of the workshop, we'll explore and try to combine this computational imagination with your own human-driven imagination to bring out the architectural resilience to diversity. All the forgotten indigenous and vernacular knowledge can be embedded into your design, which means, so from these generated images, the students will be asked to pick out elements of both typical and untypical architecture and how they can be used together to create a hybrid design. And we did not set an exact format for the design yet, because we wanted to have some kind of freedom and see how it evolved, because this was not really done before. And this will be this is the general timetable of the workshop. So we'll have the introduction, we'll start the unit selection, and then we'll go into kind of the detailed brief introduction where we will elaborate on the process and what we do. And also Dongyun, one of our tutors, will give you the StyleGAN introduction and how it's used. And we'll actually start collecting sources for the data set right away today. And then we'll have kind of like a technical tutorials throughout until midterm crit. So until midterm crit, you'll be expected to basically learn how to use StyleGAN, feed like the ways to feed it a data set that you think are suitable, and to generate images that are not real but look real of both Hanok and the typical apartment blocks. So something like this. And then from midterm crit onwards, we'll continue with the research of kind of using StyleGAN, putting different data sets, and actually finally hybridizing between two data sets of Hanok and typical apartment blocks. And then we'll also have design running in the background. So yeah, I mean, because this is not really, this was not really done before, we don't know exactly what the outcome is going to look like. But I think it's quite exciting because we're using this computational to generate images that are somewhat impressionist. It's very metaphorical, it's very kind of vague, and I think as a designer you'll be able to pick out really interesting attributes from these hybrid images and create something interesting. And it'll be a starting point. I mean, obviously these are not like the final design results that really solve the problem of architectural diversity, but I think this could be a good starting point and interesting conversation starter. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Lloyd. Right. All of the presentations were very interesting to me. And I'm glad that we went through a lengthy process of choosing this unit tutors. And then I know the tutors have put a lot of the effort to put this brief together. So I'm sure whichever units that you go, I'm sure it will be really fun. And right, 10:30. Wow, exactly 10:30. So we're keeping the time really good. Maybe we can have a 20 minutes break before we start the breakout room for each unit, when the students can go in and out of the room and then have the have a casual chat.
Basically, I think we can hang out here, right? So you can just turn off your video.
Yeah.
And,
I'm not closing the room, so you can stay here or you can have a coffee. I'm aware of the time for those who are in London, so I want to keep it short, but yeah, we need somebody who's in the unit 1 so that you can.
Do we have an option to go through into a breakout room here, or do we just stay here?
So we will break you off, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
In here.
Yeah, in here. Basically, I'm gonna open the smaller room now, and all of us in this room can just choose the breakout room by yourself, so you can go in and out of any room. So maybe I'll just open it up now, and then you can probably try.
But the unit tutors will be assigned into all these small rooms, right?
No, I didn't assign anybody, so you can just choose, including the unit tutors. Yeah, you can just choose. I'm gonna open it. Try.
Wait, there's one question for the unit 3.
Right. Okay.
So the question is, even if I don't have a background or knowledge about coding, would it be possible for me to follow the course? Yes, for sure. Specifically for the coding parts, we're going to go over from like basics to adding more and more complexity based on what you're interested in for the project. So that would not be a problem.
Yeah, we'll streamline those tools for you. We have a lot of different algorithms that at our disposal that have been built into specific types of notebooks that we can deploy and kind of teach you how to use them. And I think that's part of the course, is to kind of make you aware of how these tools exist, how to find those tools if you want them, and how to kind of hack together that tool to make it do what you want to do. So, we have StyleGAN, we have a lot of different tools. So feel free to get involved. I mean, you won't learn data structures. We're not going to talk about lists and tuples, but you will learn how to get involved and start that journey towards, using these tools.
Great. Until when do they have to do the survey, finish the survey? Shall we just announce
shall we
that
say
and
12
we can
o'clock? It's 10:30 in Seoul time. So
There's
if you
one
have
more
a bit of a
question.
break and then you have I think more than an hour to have a chat, and then you can submit. I'm gonna send all of you in this room.
So basically by 12, everybody should submit your choice to us as a
wait. There's one more question, Chat.
Oh, yeah. Question to Unit 4. Will you be focusing solely on Hanok architecture to combine with typical modern architecture? Was the question.
Unit
So,
2, Unit 4.
Unit 4, yeah.
So I think it'd be easier if all students worked on the same sets of data, because then they can share images and train better the tool. So to put it simply, yes, we are just focusing on Hanok for now, and the typical modern apartment blocks. Thank you.
Yeah, it is to fertilize the database that we're gonna generate, and maybe I think you can consider it as a sort of a single experiment of one typology, which goes through the time. So yeah, I think our answer is yes.
Okay, thank you. And I think I suggest everybody can go to the breakout room and ask the tutors more specifically, and they will be happy to answer the question. So we can go through that process now. So everybody can just float around. If you don't want to join or don't want to question anybody, you can just also go away, or you can just freely listen other conversations as well. Yeah, so we want everybody to submit your choices by 12 o'clock, and we are going to announce the choices by 1 o'clock. So we will have 1 hour to arrange everybody's choice. So if you don't submit by 12, we will just allocate you wherever. So make sure that you give us your choice by 12 o'clock. Yeah, and we and then we are hoping that after your choices, your tutors will have your roster, your name in their roster, and they will contact you. So that will be it from today as a general session. Yeah, and then at 5 o'clock, we are going to have our lecture, and we are going to come back here.
And meantime, I'm going to invite you to the Google Chat. So if you don't, so please check your email. So if you don't get the invitation from Google Chat in 30 minutes, please let me know.
Great. So Q&A session, meeting with your potential tutors. Yeah, free to float around, and see you again at 5. Yeah, and we are expecting your choices by 12. Thank you.
Thank you. Laura is already
Please
in the
keep
small
the
room.
form link, yeah, in the chat. Please keep the link. Yeah, that's your survey for the unit choice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you
I will
later.
also send the form through the email as well.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
just,
Thank you,
yeah,
Hanjun.
yeah,
Thank you
just
very
for your
much.
convenience.
Oh, we have a general questions. Will being assigned to unit depend on the first come first served basis? No. We'll get all the we'll collate all your preferred choices, and then assuming then we'll go through and then see what's going to happen first, and then we'll
We are going
discuss
to
with the unit tutors.
try to give everybody their first choice as much as possible, and if not, second choices. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it depends on the popularity of the unit.
All right. Thank you.
General question, could you upload the presentation on Google Drive? It depends on unit tutors. If they feel like it's okay, yeah, maybe you guys can share your presentation, but
I think there are some
we didn't-
materials that we can't upload.
Yeah, so, but we have the recording. So we have recorded this session. So yeah, please, if you really require certain information, please go to the breakout room and ask the tutor.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you. Great. Yeah, tutors, we would like to invite you to go to the room, your own room, and wait for other students to come in and join you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you see the button that you can choose the small breakout room? Or it seems like some students are going into the room.
Tutors, do you see the breakout room option?
Oh, Carlos has just joined. Carlos, are you here? Maybe I can just message him.
Hee-jun, did you see do you have your choice? Can you go to the breakout room, or you have some technical problem? Lloyd, how about you? Do you see the window, small window that you can go to the breakout room?
Yeah, so when I
Are you
press
struggling?
it just doesn't load anything at the moment. It just says in progress.
Maybe I assign you. I'll try to assign you to unit 4.
Thank you.
See if you can. No? Oh, yes, great. Hanjun, do you have technical issue?
No. I'll move. Yeah.
Oh, okay. 재훈쌤, 재정쌤 수고하셨습니다.
Thank you. Hope you guys enjoy the workshop. I see you in the public session.
예,
Thank
감사합니다.
you. 감사합니다.
If you're around in Sinchon, let's have lunch.
Okay.
Daesung, are you in Sinchon now? Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna call you. Bye.
Have some sushi. How about it?
With the sake.
No, no way.
Why
Come on, it's
not?
Saturday morning.
I'm off.
Okay.
See you in the public session. Bye.
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 Bye. See you around.
See ya.
See ya. Can anybody invite other people to Google Chat, or does it need to be info social algorithms? Sumin, do you know?
I have no idea.
We've got a message from Dai Hyun.
Taiyan.
Right. Oh, Carlos was here and he's not here anymore. Okay.
And since you're here, do you know if we can invite people to Google Chat?
Yeah.
By
I'm trying.
ourselves, or do you have to do
Yes,
that?
Do you
I
have
have
to
to
do
do
it?
it. Yeah, I have to do it.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll do it and just. So
Are
that's
you
for
okay
that.
with doing it, or do you want me to do
No,
it?
it's fine. It's totally
All right.
fine.
Okay. Yeah. Students
Just to add.
yeah.
Yep.
They are putting
So
all their
that's the
emails on
reason.
the chat room now.
That's why I came back here.
I
Okay.
see. Thank
I
you.
think yeah, our unit room will be fine. So it's fine.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Three
That's very
more
popular.
tutors. Yeah. Wow. So many. Right. I'm gonna have a coffee break.
Yeah.
Maybe I can peep
Okay.
into other rooms as well.
Cool. So whoever is in this room still, you can just go choose any breakout room to meet your potential tutors. You can always come out and join other room. This is a Q&A session until 12 o'clock. So you have to choose your unit by 12 o'clock using the Google form. Okay, let's see. Okay, let's have a break.